Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Prine, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Roadshow, the Indiana State Police Alliance, and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, you can visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. Thank you to MS Communications and Network Indiana for working so hard to get us on the radio waves across the state each and every week. And thank you to Mr. Tom Trial, who works so hard to get us on the YouTube channel. Check out the Indiana State Police YouTube channel and hit subscribe to check out all the historical content, and all the road shows are on there as well. So my guest today, kind of a somber show, but we want to celebrate a great life and a great career of a man who recently passed, and that's Sergeant Mitch Blocher. And with me today are two people who worked very, very closely with Mitch over the past several years. We have Detective Senior Trooper Nick Campbell and Detective Senior Trooper Brad Quakenbush. And both of them have spent a lot of time in a vehicle with Sergeant Blocher. And unfortunately, earlier in 2020, Sergeant Blocher received news that he had a tumor in his brain, and he fought really, really hard for the entire year. And just after the first of the year, actually on January 2nd, Mitch succumbed to the cancer. And here we are talking about what a great guy he was, because, when you're a young trooper, you come to the district and you start seeing these guys and you start kind of modeling yourself after someone. When I was a young trooper and I came to Pendleton and you saw Mitch Blocher, he was just on a different level. I mean, this guy just worked. I mean, no matter what it was, he just worked. And so I'm going to kind of just turn it over to you guys and kind of give us an idea of, let's start with what you guys kind of did. We don't want to give away everything that you guys do, but in the electronic surveillance unit, and just talk about what it was like working with Mitch.
Well, thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, like you said, he's one of those guys that even when I first came to the district, I worked nights, and he was one of the only detectives at the district that when I was there at night, every once in a while, he would be there. He'd still be working. Just a hard worker, funny guy, family guy,
Yeah.
godly man. But yeah, it was awesome working on the truck with him. He's one of the guys I just looked up to and learned so much from.
Now, Mitch was your guys' supervisor, but I would venture to guess that you would never see him that way. I mean, Mitch was your friend. I mean, you worked with your friend every day. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so I know that he probably pushed you guys really hard, but you probably appreciated him for that. And there were times that phone would ring and you'd be like, it's 2:00 in the morning. Do we really need to go now?
Absolutely.
But if I know Mitch, the answer was yes.
Yeah.
But he'd be right there with us.
Absolutely.
He'd be going to. He wouldn't have us do anything that he wouldn't do.
And that's cool. You always led from the front.
Absolutely.
So Mitch had an incredible career with the Indiana State Police, and fortunately, he reached his 25-year mark, which made him eligible to retire on December 22nd of 2020.
Yeah.
And through those 25 years, he did some incredible things. The awards, we could spend a whole show talking about the awards he received. But Mitch was on our scuba team a couple of different times in his career. A SWAT sniper, a detective. He went into auto theft, where he was very successful, and put a lot of people in jail and recovered a lot of stolen vehicles. And then an opportunity came to work with you guys in electronic surveillance, and talk about putting bad people in jail. That's what drove him every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's put a lot of bad people in jail, saved a lot of lives. That's a big thing that we do too. And no matter what it was we were doing, he put all of his passion and attention into it, and there aren't many guys that are a better police officer than Mitch was.
So tell me, what would Mitch's reaction be if you guys are tracking somebody and you're like, hey, I think I know he's there, but it's time to go home. Can we come back tomorrow? What would Mitch say?
It was never time to go home.
I guess I don't know what that answer would be, because it never came to that. Yeah, I mean,
that's the cool thing about Mitch, is that I know of him, and you guys do too, is he always put others first. Like, it was never about him, and
right.
He was a family man. I mean, being with his family was the most important thing to him. But this job, he had a passion that you can't teach, and we're thankful that he mentored so many people to share that passion. Like you guys are going to carry that on,
absolutely,
and continue to do the good work that he started.
Yeah.
And so you talk about him being funny. Well, got any funny stories to share about that may have happened? I mean, he was one of those dad. He was one of those dad joke guys, right? Like he'd have the corniest jokes that would make you laugh because they were so corny.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Man, I don't know. What are some that we can say on the radio?
Like anytime we were getting frustrated in the truck, he always had a joke or something to just lighten the mood and just get that pep back in our step and get us focused back on what we were doing.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were out all night, and it was into the next morning. And I remember we were taking turns sleeping. And I was in the back sleeping. It was my time to get up, so we were driving. So instead of just waking me up like a normal person, he just slams on the brakes, and I come flying into the floorboard. But that was Mitch. He was just laughing about it the whole time.
Yeah, and that's what everybody. He just had that spirit about him that just very, very contagious. Good sense of humor and good person. So, how long have you guys worked with Mitch, or how long did you guys work with Mitch?
In this squad since 2015.
Yeah. But you both have known him since you were rookies, right? Because did you come to Pendleton as a rookie as well?
No, I started my career in Red Key.
Oh, okay.
And then when Red Key shut down in 2010, I came to Pendleton.
And Mitch was a detective then, right?
I think he was already
in auto theft.
Auto theft.
Or what year did you come?
2010.
2010.
Yeah, he wasn't at the post, but I'd see him around the post, and he always was on a mission. He always was busy and just looked. I mean, he's always friendly, but you could just tell he was busy and he was very intense. And
I remember talking with him a few times while he was in auto theft, and I was just in awe of the amount of vehicles he was recovering. Like, I mean, he received awards from insurance companies and across the country about. He would just receive the most minute tip. That wasn't a big deal. It was somebody's stolen, car that's not worth very much, but he would put everything he has into finding that car.
And he would find the car, buy the stolen car off of him, and then see a gun sitting on the counter and end up buying the gun too.
Right.
He's funny.
Told several stories about that, and I mean, he's just a people person, and he can make these people comfortable, and they'd sell him anything.
One time I talked with him, I remembered he was in the middle of a case where he was buying fake temporary license plates. And he liked to do that. He's like, hey, I can go to this place and buy 25 of these things and do this and that. And he really immersed himself into that and shut down a lot of those operations, I think. And so...
Yeah, he got... Like, the Secret Service was calling him, asking him to help out with cases.
Yeah.
And he reached out. He had a big fingerprint that he had out there.
Yep. And one of my coolest memories with Mitch was I was a firearms instructor for a long time, and Mitch was a good shooter. I mean, he was obviously a sniper on the SWAT team, but he was a better shooter than I was, of course. But he would show up to the range and not act like that. He wouldn't say, hey, I'm better, too good for this, or I can do this. He would do everything just like you asked. He would ask for advice. He would ask for feedback. And I was there the day he shot Possible. And for those that don't know, Possible is the highest firearms award you can receive in the United States Police. Essentially, you shoot a series of perfect courses, firearms courses, which is difficult. And that was just a really proud moment because he was the first one that I had taught, even though I didn't do much teaching for Mitch, to receive that. And I just remember that day he was proud too. That was quite an accomplishment. And so I want to mention too that Mitch comes from a deep family of law enforcement, and Mitch's father-in-law, retired Indiana State Police Sergeant Chip Sunier. Mitch's brother-in-law is retired Master Trooper Troy Sunier. And then also in that family is another Joe Wainscott, who's a retired Indiana State Trooper who's immersed in that family as well. So really a great family, great, incredible people who they all just worked hard when they were with the Indiana State Police. And it's no surprise that Mitch worked hard to follow in their footsteps as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're coming up, and by the time this airs, Mitch's funeral will have already happened. And it's really unfortunate that only 150 people can attend, because I can assure you that if we were outside of these COVID regulations, there would be at least 500-600 people at this funeral. I mean, that's just how many lives Mitch touched.
Yep.
And so hopefully people were able to watch it online, because we're going to stream it online, and people are going to be there. But it's really going to be a neat service to celebrate his life and all the great things he did.
Yeah, he's going to be truly missed. I mean, there's not any other guy like him, and we'll miss his laugh and just working every day with him. He was one of the best, that's for sure.
And the thing is, and we can sit here and talk about Mitch for hours and share stories, some of them that probably can't be shared publicly, just because it would embarrass him or some others. But he always took it in stride. I mean, everything. I remember one time we were at a memorial service years and years ago. I didn't even know Mitch that well. And he's out back at the post playing football in uniform with some kids. And not only is he playing football, like he's tackling them. And like, here I just spent, all these hours putting my uniform together, and he didn't care. It was about having fun with those kids in that moment. And I think that's kind of just the guy he was. There was more important things than having a freshly clean pressed uniform.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know I've had a chance to talk with some of his SWAT guys too, to talk about stories of Mitch and how obviously how good he was. And one time in my career, I tried out for ERT and I didn't make it. But during this tryout, Mitch is running the PT. And we run the obstacle course, and then we have to follow Mitch over to the range, and we have to run with him. And I thought, I can keep up with him.
You can't keep up with that
right?
guy.
So I took off in a dead sprint. Mitch is probably jogging. And I did my best to keep up with him. And by the time we got to the range, I was puking, and he was laughing. He was a specimen physically too.
I can think of several foot pursuits we were in where even though he was our sergeant, the supervisor, he was the one leading the foot pursuit, mainly because no one else could keep up with him.
Yeah.
And
you'll be like,
to stay with the car.
You'll be like, I'll go get the car. Yeah.
A couple years ago, we had that situation. We had a foot pursuit with a gentleman, and it went for a little while, probably, I don't know, maybe a quarter of a mile or so. But I could hear Mitch yelling at the guys, I don't know, a few strides behind him, and I could hear Mitch saying, "Hey, man, I'm training for a marathon, so you're not going to outlast us." And at the time, we both were training for a marathon, and we were probably halfway through the training, and he was talking just like we are right now. I mean, not even breathing hard. And the guy heard that and was like, "Oh, okay, I'm done." And it's just, we laughed about it afterwards.
So for anybody listening or watching that didn't know Mitch Blocher, and I know a lot of you did know him, but if you could chisel out the perfect epitome of an Indiana State Trooper, it would probably be pretty close to Mitch. I mean, from his days on the road to his days in SWAT and scuba, he just gave it everything. He patrolled most of his career when he patrolled in Hancock County. For those of you listening, Hancock County, out of the Pendleton District, is where you would find Mitch working. And again, his SWAT guys have some pretty funny stories that they've shared and that they'll continue to share, and quite a brotherhood that they had as well with Mitch. Of course, our thoughts are with Angie and the boys and all of Mitch's family who have. They're just incredible people, and we're happy to have had the opportunity to know them for sure. For those of you who kind of wondered, we're talking to these guys, and they're talking about Nick Campbell and Brad Quakenbush, and they're talking about the fugitives that they chased down. I want you to know that these guys, their job every day, 365 days a year, is to find the worst of the worst. And when we, the Indiana State Police or other agencies, have a warrant or are looking for somebody, you guys are the crew that pulls out all the stops and tracks them down. Not only within Indiana state lines, but sometimes those tracks take you even further to apprehend the worst of the worst that are out there. And so thank you guys for that. And thank you to Mitch Blocher for blazing the trail. Because I think he, as well as you guys, have made that program so successful.
We wouldn't be where we're at right now if it wasn't for him.
He got it started, him and McComas.
This was a new thing for the state police when he started. So, I mean, they were blazing new trails with this. So
and they picked the right guy. And so, we're blessed to have had the opportunity to have Mitch in our lives and to know him as a friend. And, he was just the best. And so we want to thank everybody for listening and tuning in to this somber show, but also a celebration of what kind of guy Mitch Blocher was. And so if you have an opportunity, read up on him. Check out the Mighty Mitch Facebook page and kind of see his journey and see all the great things that everybody has. Detective Nick Campbell, Detective Brad Quakenbush, thanks so much for coming in and sharing your time. And we look forward to hearing from you guys again soon. So
we're glad to do it. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, John.
All right. And thank you for tuning into the Indiana State Police Roadshow. We will catch you next time.